Oh my goodness me. We are back. Manchester United 3, Aston Villa 2. Do you believe in miracles, folks? Do you believe in miracles? I was about to break into song like I was Cher, and I was going to say, do you believe in life after love? But do you believe in miracles is a more appropriate song. Oh my goodness me. Whew. Welcome to the Full-Time View. Hope everyone is doing very well. This is the call-in show for the members. If you are a member, you can call in. You can have your say. If you do wish to become a member, you can do so clicking the link in the video description. It's also the pinned comment in the live chat, or you can just click the join button and you can call in. You can have your say as Manchester United turn around a 2-0 deficit, halftime 2-0. We spoke about the records that Manchester United have. At Old Trafford on Boxing Day, not losing since, what was it, mid-70s, something like that. We're talking a record that dates back several years. And somehow, some way, Manchester United turned it around. Goals from Alejandro Garnacho, and the miracle, the winner, Rasmus Højlund gets his goal. And breathe. It's certainly a Christmas classic, and I'm made up for Rasmus Højlund. I really am, because as I mentioned towards the end of the match view with KG and myself, that this is a guy that his dream move was to go to Man United, and it's turned into a meme, and it's turned into a situation that's absolutely toxic. And he's scored a fantastic goal. Still had no service in the game at all, and there are still really big, red flags in that performance. But I think we deserve to win it as well. I mean, we conceded 2 really poor, sloppy goals in the first half, both from set pieces. But apart from that, you say Man United had chances. They certainly looked far more attack inside, and credit to the team, credit to Ten Hag. There's no way you can't say that the players aren't playing for the manager as well, because they absolutely are. It's very easy to falter and go down like nothing if you're 2-0 down. So credit to them, and fantastic. What a game. What a game. Game Fanatics become a member as well. Big up to you. I think you're a long-time member anyway, but there you go. Let's get to the calls. As always, guys, you can call in and have your say. If you are a member and you're thinking, how do I call in, Owen? You can do so. All you have to do is go to the United View YouTube page, go over to the community tab. If you're a member, you'll be able to see the latest posts. It will say Full-Time View plus a link. Click it, call in, have your say. Let's get to our call straight away. Let's go to Channel Boy Comics. Let's start with you this evening. Hello, my friend. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas.
Happy holidays to you too. Merry Christmas.
And certainly a very Merry Christmas. That was, what did you make of the game? And I guess the first question is, do you believe in miracles?
I believe in miracles, and I believe in Erik ten Hag. I do. And, United winning on Boxing Day, that's football heritage. That's football heritage. This is what, it was never in doubt. Okay, it was in doubt a little bit, but it was a really good performance. And I want to try to just talk to the community and let them know that Ten Hag is a good coach. The reason why we have inconsistent results is because we have inconsistent players. It's a player quality issue. Now, we do have, for example, Garnacho, who was phenomenal. Shout out to him. He kept going. Even when he scored the offside goal, it's easy to get your head down, but he stuck with it. He kept playing. And he was just a shining star and like a sort of a throwback to the old school United wingers that I love. And we just have really, really young players. And so some days they're gonna be really good, other days they're not. Like how many chances did it take before we scored our first goal? Right? Yeah. We just don't have the sort of Harry Kanes, who can just one chance, one goal type of a performance. So I don't want to get too down on these guys, because they are young and they will learn. And I know, like, Højlund, congrats to him for finally getting his goal. Really good finish, amazing finish. But before that, when you actually look at Garnacho's goal, how didn't Højlund get to that? His in-box movement is not that good yet because he's still young. When Rashford hit the side netting, Højlund was being marked in the box, and everyone's like, oh, why didn't Rashford pass? Because Højlund didn't make himself available. When Garnacho had the shot where he took across the goal, Højlund was in the box, but he was being marked, right? So this is going to take time for these players to actually learn and grow in the game. And I just want us to take the heat off Ten Hag and be like, this guy's a good coach. Let's back him and let's go through these growing pains together. But overall, with the performance, I'm really, really happy. And it showed a lot of fight and determination from the players.
Yeah, I mean, what do you make of Christian Eriksen today? I mean, one of the biggest stories going into the game was that McTominay was dropped, Eriksen's back. Did we see sort of the difference of having, Kobe Mainoo, we know is a good ball player, but also the difference of having another midfielder that can actually play the ball, progress the ball forwards?
100%, and that's exactly right. We missed him so much. When he's in the team, you just realize, oh man, we can actually play football. It's one of those things where, and even there was one moment, I think, when we're trying to see the game out, and Ericsson's, tracking the ball, and McTominay was sort of like, tracking the runner, but Ericsson said, no, McTominay, stop, drop in the middle, drop in the middle, drop in the middle. McTominay made the shift, then that closed the passing angle to the Villa player. So even off the ball, his just awareness and his ability to understand football and lead the midfield sort of rubs off on all other players. So I was super happy with him. The only problem is that he has no legs, So I don't know how sustainable he's going to be, going forward. But play him till he breaks, because we definitely did miss him in that midfield.
Yeah, and when it comes to HOJLUND, do you think this is the beginning of something to build on for him? Because even his goal he gets today, it's not really a product of amazing service or anything into him. It's a ball that kind of ricochets. It's really it's a striker's reaction goal, really, of just being there in the box. It comes to you, instinct, take a swipe at it, goes in. Is that something to take from the game, though, that we still need to look for him more often? We still need to be feeding into him. We still need to try and play to his strengths more.
So that's a good question, and I to answer the first bit, is this the start of something? Hopefully, yes, because even if you look at the game, one goal changes everything, right? We look down, dejected, but when we scored that first goal, we would look like world beaters, right? So I hope for him and his sake and his confidence, this will be the start. But I want to actually turn it, around and actually give HOJLUND the challenge to improve on his in-box movement, as I mentioned earlier, because a lot of times we're saying we're not giving him enough service, but he's not creating space to be passed to, And I think that's something that he'll have to learn as he goes, because he's 20 years old, right? Or am I tripping? Yeah, 20 years old. So he's far from the finished product. So it's just a matter of us just giving him the confidence to keep going and keep trying and not get on his back, because Garnacho is 20, maybe 18, 19. HOJLUND is 20. These are really, really young players, So I think for as much as we're looking for him, he has to improve his play. Like, just quite frankly, like he needs to like study Cavani and see how Cavani makes. Because what I noticed with HOJLUND is whenever he's run into the box, it's usually one movement. He doesn't make double runs. He just runs either to the front post or goes to the back post. But the best strikers make double, triple movements. And once he starts doing that, you're gonna see a lot of space, clear out for him. But hopefully. This is the start of something.
Hopefully this is the start of something indeed. Big up Chalaboy Comics. Appreciate you calling in as always. Let's go to another call. Let's go to Pav. Pav, talk to me after the last game. Dejected after this one. How are you feeling?
It's a miracle, Owen. It is a miracle.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. Like, we went 2-0 down. I wasn't even pissed off. I wasn't angry. I found it hilarious because I was kind of expecting it. I wasn't expecting a win. Mine was like, either we were going to draw 0-0 or lose. Went 2-0 down. Awful performance in that first half. Oana, man. Like, you've got all this confidence. You do good talking on the camera. I see your quotes and your little chat with Van Dijk and that. It puts a smile on my face when you got a player who talks like that. But your goalkeeping's trash. But yeah, first half was crap, man. Everyone was pretty much crap. I don't know what happened second half. I don't know what they said in the changing rooms. I don't know if Villa went in thinking, oh wait, this is way too easy. Like, they got really complacent when they come out, and then we upped the tempo. The players showed character. There were still like bits and bobs where you could pick out. There, like Bruno was awful a little bit. So was Rashford. But yeah, it was a great comeback, and like, I'm gonna celebrate the win because I don't know when the next one might be. I don't know when the next miracle might come. So you have to celebrate these wins. It doesn't matter how we do it.
It's a team that people are sort of saying. I mean, Villa ain't going to win a title, but this is a team that they're third in the league. Third in the league.
They're playing well.
They're playing well, and then to not only beat them but to come back it's a significant result, certainly. And also,
it's about time. It's about time we got a victory over like one of the current top 6 teams as
Yeah,
well.
yeah,
It's been a long
absolutely.
time, so
Absolutely. Would you see that performance today and say that, you know, you were saying before about the manager, but do you think the players are playing for the manager, given what we saw in the second half?
I don't know, because I feel like the way that they talk, I think they do it just for the cameras, because you're not going to come out and say that you hate the manager or you don't get along with him. You're going to be professional. Otherwise, you're going to have like fans on your back. So I'm 50-50 with it. I feel like some people are, some people aren't. But when you play for Man United, I don't care. You need to try. And you're all under fraud watch at the minute. I see there was that what's his name, Dave Brailsford,
Yeah,
in the stands, and obviously saw the camera panning to him. A lot of these players, you need to start performing, because you've got between now and the summer to prove why you belong here. In my opinion, 90% of you don't belong here no matter what. I don't care what you do between now and the summer, but you lot got to prove a lot. And this one win ain't going to change a lot of fans' minds about you. You need to do a lot more. What I saw in the second half, do that for the full 90 minutes. You never know, innit? Some of you
yeah.
might survive.
Is that the
But
more infuriating part of it, isn't it? Of that you've seen the second half, and we saw it at points last season when you go, see, that's where the anger comes from, because you go, I know some of those players just flat out aren't good enough, but some of them are better than what they have shown.
do,
So
do you
why
know
can't they
do you
do
know what
that?
it is? That second half, yeah, we like literally exposed their fullbacks. Like we were bombing down the wings. We were so wide and we had so much space. I don't get why they don't do that every game. They need to start learning how to expose the fullbacks. Like creative wise, that I still don't believe Garnacho is creative, and definitely Rashford's not creative, because you need to be creative minded. You need to be able to thread like a bit of thread for a needle. You need to be able to pick out the passes to your strikers. Even like HOJLUND got his goal there, it's like you said, it was off a ricochet. And you're going to ask the callers, do you think, is this like the start of something for HOJLUND? I don't think so, because no one creates for him. Even though, like,
Mm,
I agree with a little bit with the last caller that he needs to find the spaces, but then your players in midfield, your wingers need to do the creative work for him as well. You need to be able to get him to run behind the defenders. You need to be able to whip him balls to him. The more chances you create for him, the more chances he's got to try and score a goal. Just because
yeah,
you maybe create 2 or 3 chances in a whole game, that's not enough. Not for someone
yeah.
who's young and upcoming. He needs more chances. He needs to learn. You know what I
No,
mean? He
yeah, I
needs
agree.
he
I
needs
agree.
those chances.
There was a stat that I saw going around today when they were talking about XG, and they said, you know, Rasmus Højlund has 0 goals from, it was like 3.4 XG this season, and people were interpreting that really strangely, because they were going, oh, see, he's got this XG and he hasn't scored. You go, no, that's 3.4 XG from like 14 games. That's nowhere near even a chance a game. So he's expected this so far this season in terms of expected goals. It's been just over 3 out of 14, and then people wonder why he hasn't scored any goals. Clearly, he's not been in any position
See,
to
when
really
it
score
comes
any
to them
goals.
sort of stats, personally, I don't care, because I'm a fan. I'm not a tactician or a stat merchant. I want my team to keep goals out of our net and go put them in the other net. That's all I care about. Like this XG stuff, I've never got into it. I never talk about it. I've been on KG's channel many times. I've been coming on here for a little while now. Have you ever heard me talk about XGs and things like
But
that?
doesn't
Never.
but doesn't but that
But
that explains it, does it not? Though, so when people go like, "Oh, why is he not scoring any goals?" Then again, I'm I'm with you when it comes to certain stats. I always say stats can be manipulated to fit any argument you want, but in that instance, like that's an argument to say, like, well, clearly, I mean, if he's expected to get 3 goals out of 14, why are we shocked when he's got 0? You know, because clearly there's not enough chance creation there at all. Or that other stat that went around when it said like Marcel and Højlund have had the least amount of passes to him. Or was it a Garnacho on Match of the Day? They were saying the other day he had made like 5 passes, or him and Anthony had made like 5 passes or less than to Højlund so far this season. And like Alan Shearer said, that should be happening in a half, let alone however
yeah,
many
of course.
games.
But
That's crazy.
that's why I said our wingers are not creative minded. I thought when Anthony come to this club, he was going to be that creative spark, because I saw him doing it to Haller, who was at Ajax a lot and in the UCL. But for some reason, he's not doing that here, and I don't know why. And what I've seen from Garnacho, he's young, he's raw. But I said this to you the last time I spoke to you. I feel like sometimes he feels like he's the man, but you're not the man at the minute. Like you're starting games, but don't get ahead of yourself. And like Rashford, for me, that guy's a lost cause. That's why we need more creative players in this team. Maybe we could do with finding a profile like a Bernardo Silva, who, when he originally come to City, was playing on the wing. We need creative-minded players to get the best out of Rasmus. It's as simple as that, mate.
Yeah. Big up, Pav. Appreciate you calling in as always. Let's get to a couple of super chats here. David G says, never again do I want to see Rashford on the right if he's starting with Garnacho. Garnacho did more in the right than Rashford has ever done. I mean, my concern when it came to Garnacho is when Rashford came off and Garnacho moved to the left, I thought, because Garnacho had been so productive on the right-hand side. But fairness to Anthony, and I still think Anthony, he's not it. But look, he won the corner, which we got the goal from. I mean, you could say that's a very low bar. I'm going towards there. But hey, look, everyone pulled their weight, certainly in that second half. And big up to my style advisor. It's gifted 5, Captain 5 UV memberships. Big up to you. And Merry Christmas to you also as well. Where are we at? Let's go to another call. Let's go to Game Fanatic. Game Fanatic. How are you feeling after that? Do you believe in miracles? I suppose is the first question. I tell you what, do I believe in miracles and do I wait? There's always one, isn't there? There's always one. Even on Boxing Day, there's always one. Every single time. There's always one. Where should we go to? Look who showed up. Look who showed up. He shows up when we win.
No. I was, I was taking my time. I was being patient after that poor performance the last week or just a few days ago. But after today, I'm very happy, Owen, man. I've got to come and spread the happiness with you. At the end of the day, everyone had been assuming that this manager is absolutely shocking, that we should get rid of him, all these things. But he's managed to do a comeback performance. Obviously, HOJLUND scored a good goal, and I think we played reasonably well.
There were lots of people calling for you after the last game. They said, where's Marcel? Marcel's hiding. I saw it, and I was in the comments. They said, what's Marcel going to tell us? Trust the process. So I'll ask you again, yes. Marcel. You're going to say trust the process. So is this evidence of trusting said process today?
Yes, to a degree. And I think even in the last game, it was a fault of, an exquisite piece of football in the first action. And then, a mistake to a degree in the other one. And then today it's 2 set pieces, Owen. So, yes, there's still a fragility about our side. And I've always said it. A lot of these players have to go. But all of that is part of this process, Owen. All of that is all included as part of the process. The manager still has to be at the helm of this and to keep, pushing us in the right direction. I think today we played a bit more open. And I think Aston Villa, to their credit, gave us a lot of respect. They could have pressed us a lot more and been a lot more aggressive. But we came back into the game and they showed mentality after going a couple goals down, which is something that within this process they haven't been doing.
Yeah. And also, is that evidence that they're playing for the manager?
Yeah. And I'm happy that that's the case as well, bro, because, I was looking at Delo at times, when he's just throwing games, Oana even at times. I'm looking at him. The jury's still out on Oana to a degree. I
tell you what, Marcel, that was going to be my next question. Yeah, that was going to be my next question, because during the match view, there were a lot of people saying, Marcel, I don't know what the phrase is. You're going to have to explain it to me, Marcel. You explain a lot of these phrases to me. Apparently, you need to be something called rushed.
Oh, it means to be beaten and kicked. And it's usually around birthdays, or first day of the month. We kick punch.
Is that always around birthdays?
Not to be rushed.
I just always assumed.
What's that game, Owen? Like people used to throw money in school, and everyone used to have to run for the money and pick it up. People used to get beaten up in that game, bro. Oh my day!
What game's that?
Okay. What was it called? Like people would just throw money, and then everyone would like money rush or something. Like,
I've never heard of that. But the point is, look, Marcel, you're catching a lot of strays because you're a big advocate for, post David De Gea, and that's what. And in fairness, because I know what you'll say, you weren't a big advocate for Andre Oana, though. In fairness, but you're an advocate for that profile of goalkeeper. What are your thoughts?
I'm gonna say this could be our Bravo signing potentially. I'm not 100% sure, but we have to remember what Bravo done. It opened the door for that style of goalkeeping to be part of Manchester City's culture. So is it the signing that goes in the right direction, long term, short term, any sort of term? Yes. I think it is. So I wouldn't worry about that kind of thing. I think, does he have technical deficiencies? Even today, I think the save from the header that he makes hits his palm. It doesn't even hit his hand. It's like he's diving too early and it hits his palm. So he's got a few technical issues, Owen, but I still think he's a fantastic goalkeeper. And I think the jury's it's too early to condemn him and say he's been rubbish or he's not good enough for this club. I think he will be able to fill the shirt. He's got the personality for it for sure, and the mentality for sure. And I think he will go on to be a good goalkeeper. I think today he just didn't look brilliant. And, everything looks a bit awkward and nervous. And I can understand why fans would feel that way. But it's just been so early, Owen, to even say that he's not good enough.
And with Rasmus, do you believe in miracles?
Yes. Plenty of miracles. Did you see the passion, the way he was absolutely screaming? It looked like that. I know a lot of people were saying he's, looked like he was coming to tears, but I just said he's 100% passionate. That's what you want from a player, man. He's had disallowed goals. I know no one's saying he hasn't scored any goals. He's had a couple of disallowed goals. Today he should have brought that touchdown under Rashi. I know Rashi's fired at him in the first half, but he's got to maybe get that under and produce a moment towards the goal. I think his runs, no one's really looking for him as well. I think he is making runs, Owen. I think he is making runs. It's just nobody's really looking for him. But I'm very happy, man. He looked passionate. He looked hungry for that goal. So gassed for him.
Gassed for him. Can you stick around, Marcel? We'll get some more callers on and they can ask you some questions.
Yeah,
all right, so
no
Marcel's going to stick around. Let's go to another call. Let's bring in Lil Yo-Yo. Lil Yo-Yo, what are your thoughts on what you saw?
Who knows what miracles you can achieve?
Horrendous. Absolutely horrendous. I'm willing to bring him back under certain parameters and circumstances. But, I mean, good Lord. Lil Yo-Yo.
Owen, why you ruining my thunder, man? Miracles do exist.
Because, I mean, I've got noise-cancelling beats on you, and if I pull this off, blood's going to start shooting out on my eardrums. So I'm not having it. It's too late. It's too late for that. We've been through too much today.
Alrighty. It's a game of two halves, man.
It is indeed a cliche start. That's what I prefer. You do believe in miracles as well. Can Rasmus kick on now?
If he gets service going forward, then why not? If there's a couple more bars on the phone, like, I say today, out of the 5 bars you get on your mobile, I think he had like a 2-bar or a 3-bar. So that's how I like to describe the amount of service Rasmus HOJLUND gets. If he gets a 4 or 5 bar on a good day, that guy will score every game. He needs to be fed, and also needs to time his runs better, I think, because there was a crossing from Garnacho earlier in the game, and his timings was just a bit off, in my opinion. So I think if he works on that, just get the unison with the team, he will start flowing, man.
He'll start flowing. What about Andre Oana? KG was very, very much not happy with him during the game, particularly in the first half. I think he actually said he hates him, which is quite strong. Where do you sit on Andre Oana at the moment?
Mr. Marcel.
Yes.
I remember I met you last season when we played West Ham in the FA Cup, yeah? And I said that this is what you wanted. So we are here now today, and you saw what he did. He's been doing this all season. How can you justify this?
It's a signing in the right direction. Like I said, it's a signing in the right direction. Our manager wants to attack with 11 and defend with 11. Oana fits that principle to a degree, especially in terms of the attacking with the 11. And once we get better centre backs and a better team, especially in that build-up phase, I think you'll clearly see how important he is to the team. In terms of goalkeeping, have we lost, somebody that was very good at protecting our goal in David De Gea? Yes, we have. But I think what we stand to gain in the long term, I think it's going to be much greater for our club.
But then you would say, isn't the most important thing that a goalkeeper does is keep the ball at the net?
Everyone says this to me, but it depends who you're asking for me. We're asking
you.
Well, I'm asking you, my friend.
Well, then, no. I think it's more important for him to.
So it's not important to keep the ball at the net.
See, you're not letting me finish. But
I'll
so
let you finish.
yes,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
thank you very much. So yes, it is important to keep it out of the net. Yes, but the way in which you keep it out of the net is a very, a very technical detail, which, loads of managers have different philosophies. And my philosophy would be for us to retain the football, which means having a goalkeeper that can play possession instead of worrying. If you have the football, you're defending. And if you can follow that degree, that principle to the most maddest degree, you then have a goalkeeper that can play with the football, maybe even more to his abilities of saving with the football, because you want to keep the ball to defend to defend your goal. That's my philosophy, and I think other managers throughout the test of time have followed that philosophy more. That's why you get the Bravos. That's why you get the Edsons and all these type of goalkeepers, because they follow more of a keeping hold of the ball than saving the football. We want someone closer to that style than Oblak or whoever it is at Atletico.
I think in fairness to that though with Marcel. So for instance, today you kind of got the best and the worst of Onana, didn't you? Because and this is why I was pushing back with KG a bit, because Onana would do a really good pass and then KG would go, I hate that guy. And I go, what are you talking about, man? He's just did a really good pass. And a couple of times he would do that. But when push comes to shove in difficult moments, when you're looking for the goalkeepers to do the basic fundamentals, I don't know. It's weighing up. Would you rather have a goalkeeper that can do something extraordinarily difficult for a goalkeeper, but they can't do the basics? It's very lopsided, isn't it?
That's my problem.
It's like having a car that can go 0 to 120 in 5 seconds, but when you just want to do the basics like parallel park, all the wheels fall off, and you go,
bingo.
I'm not really.
That's the problem.
What do I do in that situation? So I suppose you can. My long-winded point is, you can see both sides of the argument, can't you?
I guess it's a conversation that will last
Can you,
until he's like, well. But I can see both sides of the story. But I do think what Onana's done this season is unforgivable, in my opinion. I get your point, Marcel, and I agree with you to an extent. But when you can't do the basics right and keep the ball at the net when you're supposed to me, that's not good enough. And I believe that this is my black African brother here, man. I believe this guy should be doing way better. I want to back him, but he's making it difficult. Yeah. When AFCON comes, let it come. He needs to go.
Yeah. I tell you what, Master, actually, that's a good point. Big up Lil Yo-Yo.
Yeah.
What happens when he goes AFCON? Are you big on buying deer?
You buying deal Heaton. What's wrong with Heaton? You know what kind of performance you're going to get out of Heaton. I think he's a bit solid. But buying deal, I haven't seen much of him, so I don't know what we're going to get. I don't know if you're losing a lot of this possession kind of transition style goalkeeper that Andre Onana is meant to be. You might go all the way back into the Stone Ages to a degree in terms of what the style of goalkeeper we used to have.
Hey, Marcel, is the Stone Age keeping the ball out the net? Because if that's the case, hey, let's go time traveling, brother.
I understand that, but for me, the direction that we're going in is you suffer now. Similar to what happened originally when we appointed David De Gea. We suffered now because we thought we was going to get one of the best in the world, which and he later on does go on to be. But you had that early season or so of suffering. The shot was very heavy for him, and you're seeing a similar cycle from this current goalkeeper, and a little bit of his offensive abilities and capabilities.
Red Baron says, Marcel, car spray car freshener all over your room. And Marcel loves the car spray, the car freshener spray. And Shaan says, somebody needs to say how well Dallo inverted today. We'll get to Shaan very briefly. Let's go to Joe Blackman. Joe.
Yo, what's good, people? Hey, listen, I wasn't even going to come on, but I saw Marcel and I thought, you know what, this is my time to chat to him and ask him about David De Gea, blood, yeah? Listen. Marcel, you're lucky because I'm not in the studio. I come rush you, blood. Yeah. Listen, one question I need to ask you, yeah, because Little Yo-Yo landed on it, but he didn't ask you the right question. Is Onana the right goalkeeper?
His profile, yes.
I never asked you about his profile. Is this person the goalkeeper? There's lots of goalkeepers out there with his profile that I think are better than him. Is he the goalkeeper?
I originally wanted Diogo Costa. That's what I originally always said backhand.
So is your answer no? Brother, it's a yes or no answer, bro. Is it yes or no?
No, I'm gonna say yes though.
Okay, now you can explain why, please.
Oh snap! Well, it's
Oh,
again,
snap.
because clearly it's difficult to explain why when you've seen how poor he's been with his the basic technical abilities. You know, he cannot save the ball and it feel comfortable. He cannot parry around the post and it look easy. It's something.
Even when he saved the ball, he looks inadequate. This is my problem with Oana, right? Look, yeah, we had a solid goalkeeper when it comes to keeping the ball out of the net. He might not have been the best at distributing the ball, but this is what I was saying about the time that we got rid of David De Gea. It was not the right time. We have lots of players in our team, yeah, that I feel were
higher on the priorities.
A lot higher on priority.
In fairness, though, Joe, the problem is with De Gea as well, and this is a fair argument, I think, is that had we decided to keep De Gea, it would have meant triggering an option for him to be on 375k for another year. Would that have been?
Well, no, I do believe we did also offer him a contract. We offered him.
Well, this is the weird thing with that, because that's disputed, isn't it? That's the weird disputed thing. Is some say that he had accepted that. Some people said, well, that was never on the table. Some people said there was 2 offers on the table. So the only concrete thing we do know is to actually keep him would have been to trigger that option. We don't know if he would have accepted a massive pay cut or not. So let's say hypothetically that the only way to categorically keep him at the club was 375k, trigger it for another year. Would you have been willing to do that?
For 1 year? Yes. For 1 year? If it's just for 1 year, why not? Because my opinion of the situation was, there were a lot more people higher on the priority list, Just like the fact right now that HOJLUND is struggling to get goals, right? Could we not have put some of that money into getting a higher profile of striker? Not that I don't love HOJLUND's reaction and what he did today. Come on now, Christmas miracles do happen. But to have a higher profile of striker is vital. Do you know what I mean? Well, maybe not being vital, maybe a higher profile of winger that could find a striker. Do you know what I mean? There's lots of areas that we need improvements on, people. We knew we was losing. We lost Greenwood, so we knew we need something else. Do you know what I mean? So look, if you're telling me, look, don't get me wrong as well, because everybody knows how much I back the manager, and these are some of the criticisms I have of the manager, right? Because for me, he could have made some better decisions when it comes to who we got rid of in that space of time.
But considering that we're getting distracted from the game, we won.
True that. No, I just wanted to talk to Marcel. I didn't, you know what, the game was good. You kept Marcel here, and I wanted to talk to Marcel, bro. That's what I came to do. Do you know what?
When he goes outside, people just start shouting to hear at him and stuff like that. This is what happens.
He lives outside of time, so it's hard to catch him. So, you know, I thought I'd catch him right now. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
But no, on the game, though.
Yeah, talk about the game.
Very quickly on the game. The game was beautiful. You know what? I was panicking. I turned on FIFA, right, just before we scored the first goal, and I was like, you know what? Nah, I'll keep watching. And then we scored. I was like very shocked. Then I had to continue watching because, you know what? I was ready to give up on the game like every other game that we've had in the last week or two. Do you know what I mean? Because it's getting ridiculous now. I don't know how long I would start suffering through these matches. But the hope is there, people. You know what? It seems to be when people actually do what Erik ten Hag wants them to do, that we get goals, don't it? Yeah. So Erik ten Hag in all day long, people. Yeah. Make sure you back the manager. Yeah, and bring David De Gea back if you can travel through time. Bye, Marcel.
Hey, pick up him, man. He can be David De Gea, not David De Gea, in Ten Hag in, but not agree with the David De Gea situation. Think that he's a different priority.
Hey. But even you've said when it comes to Andre Onana, maybe he's not the final destination when it comes to that, right? Maybe not. Maybe not. Yeah. We've got time for another caller. Let's go to Shaan. Shaan, you said in your members chat that you wanted to talk about Dalot, saying why is no one talking about Diogo Dalot? Was he one person that stood out for you, or was it a collective effort?
To be fair, Owen, I think he was one of the people who stood out for me. I don't think everybody in that team played very well, but I think credit needs to be given where credit is due. And I think Diogo, as someone who's mostly plays as a right back, inverting was very, very important to us. It gave us an extra person in midfield. I think Wan-Bissaka played more of an inverted fullback sort of role, not as a wing back, but sort of in line with the defense, which made us more difficult for Villa to break through. I don't think Ollie Watkins had a sniff throughout the whole game, really. And Leon Bailey, I know he had a couple of one-on-ones against Diogo, but at the same time, I think he did very well. And I've seen a lot of stuff online about Dalot and whether he's quality or not. From the time Jose bought him in 2018, I've always thought that Dalot was a very good fullback who can play both sides and who can play different roles altogether. And I think he had a very good performance today. That's all.
Yeah, speaking of defenders as well, Shaan, Johnny Evans. I mentioned after the game against West Ham that I thought he was, along with Kobbie Mainoo, probably our best player on the pitch, and it was actually a terrible performance, but he's still one of our better players. Today, makes a massive block. It's going to be going in as well. I mean, it's a strange one because he shouldn't be at the club, realistically. It's a Glazer-nomic situation. We can't afford to get a centre-back. We have to get in Johnny Evans, but he's proven a lot of people wrong, isn't he?
And funnily enough, my last game at Old Trafford for a while was around, I think, 2012 during a title-winning season. And I remember my granddad sitting alongside me at the Stratford end, looking at Johnny Evans and being like, do you know what? He can be the next big thing. And I think a lot of us United fans thought that when he first signed way back in the day. But to have him back at 35 years old and just defending, aging like fine wine, if I might say, it reminds me a lot of what Thiago Silva has done for Chelsea. Even though they are quite old compared to a professional footballer, when you're a central defender, your skills never sort of go away. Your awareness never sort of goes away. And I think Johnny Evans has proven that. Yes, we all were worried when he came in, but I think what he's done to us, bar a couple of dodgy moments, I think he's been really consistent for us. And if the rest of our centre-backs do remain injured till the middle of January, I think Licha probably will come back for the Spurs game, and then Maguire would be back. I would continue with this pairing of Varane and Evans until Licha comes back. I really would. I think it's solid. I think, as I said, Ollie Watkins didn't have a sniff throughout the game. And what I really loved about Johnny Evans was the fact that, especially when Varane was covering, he was kind of doing a libero sort of role where he was edging kind of ahead of Watkins. And because Villa don't really play with the number 10, I know Buendia had the long-term injury, but they don't really play with the number 10. They rely on the wide midfielders to tuck in. So when Johnny Evans moved forward, it moved our defensive line forward. It gave us more chances. And it's a domino effect. It made Kobe sort of invert in, but it made Kobe's position better, which made Bruno kind of be on the lines and thread those passes through Villa's high line of defense. And I think it was sort of a knock-on effect. And I'm really pleased for Johnny Evans. Obviously, it's not the long-term solution. I don't think anybody would have envisioned him playing for us at this age. But as I said with Diogo, I think credit needs to be given where credit is due.
Yeah, and speaking of credit where credit's due, also as well, Christian Eriksen, we spoke about him earlier on, but do we just see the difference between actually having a player that, technically is proficient? I mean, not even like Christian Eriksen's technically excellent, but just having a couple of midfielders, Kobbie Mainoo can pass the ball, can progress it. Christian Eriksen can pass the ball, can progress it. We today witnessed the difference of having those kind of players available under a coach like Erik ten Hag.
100%. And I would allude to Marcel. I know he gets a lot of stick for his opinions, but I remember, I think, on one particular full-time view, or rather a full view that I watched, when he was alluding to the fact that the reason Erik ten Hag wanted someone like Frankie de Jong was to have progressive passes in midfield. That is when you can become the best transition team in the world, is when you can progress the ball quickly through midfield and with good pace, and with midfielders who can find the pass as soon as possible. I think Eriksen has sort of molded his game. Obviously, he used to be a number 10, but I think right now is kind of a defensive playmaker, if you will. Not that he contributes a lot in defense, but when Kobe, I think, has someone who is sort of next to him, but will find the passes and most importantly, allow Bruno to do what he does best, pick the final ball out, is excellent. And I think a lot of it doesn't get said about Eriksen's set piece abilities. That's very, very important to us, because I don't think Bruno has been great with the corners and the free kicks this season. So when Eriksen is involved, that it's going to be a good set piece. I mean, he has got that sort of quality. Should he start every week for United? Of course, ideally, yes, but I don't think he can at this time. I think that's one of the reasons that Mason Mount was bought in. But today, I think it was very good from Eric to put Eriksen in that position. I think it really helped us. And I would really hope that he plays exactly in that position away at Forest, because we will need him to ping those balls through and sort of maintain consistency in the midfield. Just keep hold of the ball. If you keep hold of the ball in midfield, you're going to win games. And I think that showed today. I mean, we conceded 2 pretty avoidable goals, but I think overall we controlled the game. And Eriksen is a very big enabler to that. And as I said, I think it's very important to give him credit. And I would thank you for bringing up Eriksen in the first place, because his efforts sort of get unnoticed in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate calling in as always, Sean. Very quickly, Marcel, Johnny Evans. I mean, how unbelievable has he been recently? It's crazy.
Top performance. And you know what? To think that, he's been at the club so many years ago. I was saying before that, he's coming to just have kind of an experience role. Got the young Willie
He
that's
wasn't
there.
going to play. Yeah.
Yeah, Willie's there that, maybe comes in, gets minutes, or, that you would think, they're looking to a senior player to look up to and those kind of things. And I thought that would be his role throughout the season. But he's actually playing games, creating assists, coming up with big moments in the game. I remember against Burnley, I think he's the one that plays the pass into Bruno's volley.
Yeah.
It's like he's producing moments throughout the season. So yeah, big up to him, man, massively.
Yeah, and we just spoke about Eriksen before we wrap things up there. But, I mean, you've mentioned a lot about sort of ball-playing midfielders and how recently we haven't had that. Amrabat, McTominay, definitely not that kind of profile.
Yeah.
Is that maybe if we can get those kind of players back, Eriksen, Mason Mount, Casemiro's passing is a bit underrated, in fairness. Does the midfield start to look a bit more reassured, or do you still have worries about the sort of one-to-one marking system that Ten Hag does?
That's a great point, Owen. I mean, the one-to-one marking system, and a lot of the time we're getting overrun. We're in a situation where it's 3 of us against 4 of the opposition, because they're bringing fullbacks into that middle area to congest the central areas, or wide players, like Brighton are coming from wide areas to congest the middle area of the pitch. So Ten Hag needs to not maybe respect the league, but start understanding the league, that he needs to get 4 players in there, whether it's the low coming in central areas. Sean was just speaking about the low. I think maybe it's the low coming into central areas. Maybe it's somebody else, coming out into central areas, the forward. We was going to get Harry Kane, maybe last season. That would have been a false 9, added himself into the middle of the pitch to add numbers, and HOJLUND maybe needs to do that a bit more. But I think Ten Hag, is finally got Scott McTominay out the team now. He was in the team because of good form, and we were winning football matches, and he deserved to be in the team. But on performance and on healthy players and your strongest 11, Eriksen, like you said, Owen's got to be part of that side. So, hopefully he can be fit as possible. We can get Hannibal in there, somehow get Dan Gore in there. Players that are mobile but can play that forward line and line breaking pass. And then we have to watch for Ten Hag to continue to tinker his team a bit and adjust it and try and get 4 players into that central area. I think he has to respect the new trend within the league.
A couple of super chats here, then we'll wrap things up. Nem says, Marcel, lay off the waffles, goalkeeper first. By the way, actually, I saw a thing on the United View Clips page. I don't know if you've seen this, Marcel. And it says, it's something like Marcel predicts the last 6 or 7 games. And I think it's 6 games, 7 games. And you only got 1 prediction wrong. You only got 1 wrong. It was crazy. It's like Everton win, Galatasaray draw. Actually, I'll get the fixtures up in front of me, because I was shocked, because I was on that show. I don't remember Marcel saying that. Where was it? It was, you said Everton win. You said Galatasaray draw. I think you said Newcastle we'd lose. You said Chelsea we'd win. You said we'd beat Bournemouth. That was it. You said we'll beat Bournemouth. That one was wrong. And then you said Bayern. You said Bayern will lose and Liverpool will get a draw. And I was like,
come on, Mystic Mars, man. Mystic Mars.
They call you a madman. It's crazy. And Red Baron says, Marcel is our brother, guys. There you go. So appreciate everyone that's called in. Appreciate everyone that's had their say. Remember, on the full-time view, you can do just that. You can call in. You can have your say on a variety of different topics after every single match. If you still do want to call in and have your say, you can still do so, because once this show ends, you'll be redirected to KG's channel, where he's going to do a 5 Things Deep. You can call in, you can have your say, and you can talk to KG, talk to Kevin Gary. What a Christmas treat that is, certainly. But a reminder, click the like button, subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. You can also go check out all of the fan views. Flex is probably outside a very buzzing Old Trafford right now, chatting to everybody about that result. And, on to the next one. On to Nottingham Forest on the 30th. We're out of here. Peace.